He says he's ready, and then he walks away.
Aaron's walking away. Aaron's going to the bathroom.
Had to move my panel.
All right. And then there we go. Off-Road Podcast, episode 268, Nevada Excursion Recap. This week,
Tonight, Aaron gets dusty, Eric gets dusty, and Ben, well, he gets dusty too.
welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Jeremy. Oh, wait, no, he's not here. Aaron. And joining me again is Eric, right here next to me, who called me Jeremy all weekend. So,
I'm going to interrupt you here real quick. It appears that we're not live on Radio Overland.
What? It says on air.
Does it?
Yep. And I've got the button locked.
Weird. Doesn't look like we're live. Oh, what? Now we are. Now we're live. It's live now. It's good to go. Maybe it was live the whole time.
Okay. Somebody here just doesn't know how to use the radio.
It's a 7-second radio delay, you know.
Yeah.
It could be the radio delay.
It could literally be radio delay. So, Eric.
Yes.
You're back in studio again.
I know.
This is weird. It's like I have a studio and we got our
cow.
Our cow back there. That's a chocolate cow. So, what's new, man?
Not much. I'm still waiting on my rock sliders, but I took my trip and didn't wreck the side of my rig, so I made it.
You must have had an awesome spotter.
I actually only got a spot once. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
And who did the spotting for you?
That was Coy.
Yep, Coy boy.
Yep.
It'd have been fun to have him on here tonight, but couldn't get a babysitter in time.
What do you do?
Yep, that's what do you do? So
I didn't realize he needed somebody to watch his wife while he wasn't around.
Oh wow. Aaron, man, what's new?
Well, as you're going to find out here in just a little bit, we all just got back from Nevada. It's been less than 24 hours since I got home from Nevada for that 5-day excursion. I've already got some new front brake pads on ordered, and I need to find a bolt to slip into my front skid plate that rattled loose and is dipping down a little bit.
And an inner fender for the front.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I ripped my inner fender was slowly degrading, and so on this trip it wouldn't stay up anymore.
Do you have like a rubber floppy piece that has like pins?
It's formed plastic, but I think just because we were closer to the equator, the gravity's stronger down there. It just kept pulling it out of the fender more, and I just kept hearing it rub on my tire. So I just went in there and just yanked a couple times, and she's out.
Yeah, I've got the little rubber fender pieces that you have little plastic clips that hold them in. And I noticed on my way home, well, actually I noticed while we were on the loop that it had started falling. And I didn't do anything about it. I don't care.
I came through relatively unscathed. I've got some codes that are still showing up on the dash with the check engine.
We'll talk about that later. So anything else?
No, that's it. I actually was looking at Coy's rig, and he has those same kind of like rubber flaps. Mine's like an entire inner fender liner, and his FJ Cruiser has some rubber flaps that you're talking about with the plastic
same
push
ones.
thing. And I thought that was pretty clever. I like those a lot better than just that giant fender liner. So I might try to craft something like that rather than replacing the whole thing, because I only need it in a couple spots. I don't need the entire wheel well covered.
There's a company that makes them for my 4Runner. They make they're thicker rubber, so it doesn't flex as much, and it holds up better to time.
I was just going to go buy some cheap, really thin, flexible cutting boards like I used for mud flaps at one time.
Oh, like some IKEA ones.
Yep, that style. Yep.
That's
And
not a bad idea.
Just send it.
I wonder how well those would work for me. I might have to try that. I've got one of those cutting boards.
Your wife's gonna be mad at you.
No, she won't
Where's our
notice.
cutting board?
She won't notice. We hate that one. We never use it.
Yeah, nobody really uses the thin ones. The extra ones I had left over, I actually put in my trailer for camping stuff, and I don't know if we even use them there.
So I noticed something. Our listeners might notice it. Somebody's missing.
Yeah.
You know what he's doing, right?
Rick is missing. That's what it
Oh,
is.
that's
Rick
who it
got
is.
in our chats.
Yeah.
I was like, something's missing from this podcast. It's Rick.
Well, we've got
because
we've got
Rick is still camping.
Yep, that jerk.
Jerk.
Well, we've got someone else in YouTube to replace Rick for right now, and he's not here either. He's working on something broken. Is it his Jeep?
Not this time.
Oh, it's his motorcycle this time?
No, his Jeep is so broken that it transferred over into his other vehicles. So next thing you know, his wife's car is going to be broken. Here, I'll knock on wood.
Gonna have a fall truck.
Knocked on some wood for Jeremy.
Yeah. And me, I had such a long drive home. I just got home from work. I got home last night, went to bed, woke up, went to work. Still haven't unpacked my 4Runner.
True.
Yeah, we had to. We got here, or I got here. Eric was already here. Eric helped me unload the soundboard and equipment so that then we could do the episode. So that tells you how crazy I've been.
But hey, we got on time today. We weren't 15 minutes late. We weren't 5 minutes late. We got it. We hit it at the right time.
Rick's not going to believe you since he didn't see it.
Well, yeah, he wasn't here.
Know.
So something though that I didn't mention is I did get some Falcon shocks and coilovers for the 4Runner. I got them the night before I left, so there was no way I was installing those because what if something goes wrong? Sorry guys, can't go on the trip.
Wrong. Yep.
I had so many things going wrong for this trip. Like I lost my wallet for 3 days before the trip, and I was like, yeah, I need to find this. I found it the night before. So the trip happened.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
Speaking of reviews, it wasn't a review, but it was a comment on one of our episodes. My buddy Chad from the CK Knife channel shared something about a story, and it was of our episode, and I think it was our last episode, and something about Jeeps and always be broken. So yeah, Jeremy, your Jeep's been broken.
Yeah, he should have been on this episode to defend himself.
Yep.
Well, don't forget to check out Patriot Patch and their awesome selection of patches and gun cleaning mats, stickers, and shirts. You can also join the Patch a Month Club for $15, and you receive a patch and a matching sticker every month. I had Coy riding shotgun with me for maybe a quarter or fifth of the trip, off and on. His wife was driving, so mine jumped in with his wife, and we were talking patches some of the time, and I got to show off not the most recent one, but it was one from a couple months back where it was the AR-15 with the mortar duct taped to the bottom of it. So
the 4th of July one.
Yep. So yeah, Patriot Patch, awesome stuff. Make sure you check it out.
So many things on my screen now.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Well, our first story here, and I would say it's an epic story, is Warren released Epic Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty nice looking. I'm really happy with what they are.
Yeah, they
They're
look pretty cool.
Yeah, my only sad thing that I can think of is, at least right now, I don't think all they have is Jeep sizes.
That's the problem right there. I was waiting for my opportunity to groan about that. Yeah,
Well, now
they're
I'm gonna ask
only
about what
available in 17 by 8.5 with a 5x5 bolt pattern, 0 offset.
Yeah, so soon I'd imagine that the market they want to hit first is the Jeep market, right?
Mhm.
So that's going to be where they're going to hit first is with the Jeep market, and then hopefully they'll be. I would imagine they would do the Toyota market because they're popular, and then maybe they might care about some other markets like Chevy, Ford.
what are
Yeah,
they
Hatsu.
what are they doing with them other than? I mean, I got wheels that say Warren on them. Are they doing anything special with them to make them better, stronger?
Well,
So
they have a cool center cap that looks like the old traditional turn it yourself to lock in your hubs. New rigs have electronic hubs. I don't know if there's any vehicle that still uses
only if you
manual
put it
hubs
in.
anymore.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said only if you put it in. I think
And why would you?
Yeah. So the center cap looks like the traditional manual locking hubs, which is cool. They are also covered by a lifetime structural warranty, so they must build them stout enough that they can stand behind them.
Yeah, I think
Steel,
alloy.
Cast aluminum.
cast aluminum.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're gonna just have to have Andy on to talk about these epic wheels.
We talked about doing a wheel episode with him, anyways.
Yeah, he would really like to do it too. So
Oh man,
Nice.
I'm not sure how you pulled that one out.
I don't know. I just came rolling along.
Yeah, I feel like it ran me over.
I really let the air out of that one.
It's more of a
Yeah,
tired.
so
That's wheel.
yeah, I'm already tired of this joke.
I'm really offset by your opinion there.
Oh, you're lugging this joke around too far. Well, so we mentioned there for Jeeps, they only fit JKs, JLs, and the Gladiator JT right now, unless you've got another Jeep that's been transferred to those sizes.
Well,
And 5x5, I think, is actually a common size. It might fit some older Chevys and stuff, but
yeah,
not quite sure if the offset would match.
yeah, it's a 5x1x27, something like that. If you're
Yeah.
looking for metric nominators.
Yep.
Definitely cool looking. I really like the old school Warren look, and I'd run them. Maybe I'll get an adapter, Spicer adapter. I really want those wheels.
Is that so you can go from 6 lugs down to 5?
Yeah, I just decrease all the lugs I have on there.
Yeah,
Saving
that'd be
weight.
wise. That'd be
That's
wise.
saving-
Add an adapter to save weight.
Yeah, there you go. And less strength, right?
Yep.
It's all good all around.
They only come in 2 colors, gunmetal and black.
No.
But
Is it moon salt black? Oh no, that's the pattern.
that's the pattern. There's moon salt, jackhammer, and diamond cutter.
Those are really
used to be my
epic
nickname.
names.
Diamond cutter.
I went by diamond cutter in high school. It was hardcore.
Well, they have one more color than the Model T did. So
That's true.
That gunmetal gray is really nice. I wonder if they're gonna try and hit the market and get a bronze at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. Bronze is pretty popular.
It's really popular
for the Instagrammers.
Mhm.
that's why I don't get it.
Yep. Well, we've got some listener feedback. Ben mentioned some earlier, but we've got some other listener feedback. That was it was in regards to our Bronco episode. It says you can run 37s or 40s on a Dana 44 without issues. If you actually wheel it, you should trust the housing and use chromoly axles. It definitely depends on your use and application, though, but plenty of hardcore wheelers run 44s, referring to the axles, not the tires. I've ran a Dana 30 on a V8 ZH with chromoly axles, and I trust and a trust with good Yukon gears and zip locker, and wheeled it hard on 35s. Never broke in the rocks. Even went out on some of the hammer trails. The biggest factor is weight of the rig, but upgraded Dana 44s can be built strong, and that's from Miguel S.
Yeah, I've seen 37s on 44s, and they've been upgraded to help protect that. I mean, though, I guess it kind of just depends upon what you have in there with there, because like Jeremy, he's got a bent axle 44, and he's only on 35s.
I was talking to somebody today, and he was telling me, I was talking about Jeremy's axle issues, and he was telling me that it sounds like that front axle is known for bending. They call it like a heavy duty 44, and that front axle is known for bending. I'm not in the Jeep world, so I don't know anything about that, but yeah, that's what he mentioned to me.
Well, I think it's time, right?
Let's do it.
Go paired with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, this week we're recapping our excursion because I mean that was 5 days, 4 nights of fun in the desert ish.
It was a good time.
No, it's fine.
Before we go there, we've got some comments from the Peanut Gallery here on YouTube. Somebody named Jeremy says, "Nope, tell that to my axle." So, whoever this Jeremy person is, they must have a broken axle on their Jeep.
Pretty typical for Jeep owners, isn't it?
He doesn't trust. He doesn't trust 37s apparently.
No, he wants to go 37s or 40s. Our Jeremy, and
Correct.
isn't he looking at Dana 60s front and rear? I told him just get the front, wait for the back, but he's like, no, that would be weird. I don't know.
It would cost him extra money in the long run.
No, it would.
That'd be like having flare fenders only on the front.
It looks awesome.
Thank you, Eric.
that was a conversation we had this weekend. Was flared fenders.
Yep.
Because I want flared fenders, so that my 35s will fit well. Oh well. So day one was a crazy day. That was a day of a lot of driving.
Oof.
Especially for you and I, Eric.
Yep.
What was that drive? 10 hours?
You
Right.
drove far. You drove the farthest, Ben, because Eric actually came partially down the night before.
Oh, cheater!
Yeah, I came down. I was supposed to spend the night at Aaron's place, and
Man, you can't
we
get anyone's
stopped in
name right.
Portland instead.
This
I
guy
didn't wanna
can't
go that
get
far.
anyone's name right. Called me Jeremy all weekend.
I can't. I'm old. What am I
Yeah,
gonna do?
forgetful. So yeah, I woke up at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Right? Was that the first day, Wednesday?
Yep, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I woke up at 5 o'clock. I finished packing because I fully packed because I was tired and I had to find my wallet the day before and I had to work the day before. And
But you had 5 days off leading up to losing your wallet and not packing.
no, I had 3 days of work still, or 2 days of work, and then I
thought you had like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that off.
yeah, and then I
Tomato,
worked
tomato.
Monday, Tuesday, and I was like, oh, I'm packing for myself. This will be easy. And all that stuff was easy. It was just I had to get it together. And all my camp stuff was already together. It was my clothes I had to pack. And really didn't take me that long to pack. And then the funny thing, the thing that is that morning, I actually went and got my alignment checked, which it was fine. And I got my tires. I went to get my tires. The front.
Are we talking about Wednesday? You waited all the way till the day of to get your tires and alignment checked?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
We talked about that for like 3 weeks leading up to it, and you said you've no problem, I got lots of time. And then you had all those days off that you were going to get it done.
All the time in the world to catch up on everything else and not get that done. Yeah. So I got that done.
No wonder you had to drive 95 miles an hour to catch up with us.
Yep. And then I went to Walmart right after that, and I got my groceries.
Yes. This is my favorite. This is my favorite part. Why did you wait till get your groceries till after you're on the road?
So my wife wouldn't be there to tell me that I couldn't get something.
Yes. Yes. And that, folks, is how you do it. That's how
Yes.
you do it right there.
So, and it was, she'd be like, do you need this junk food? And, it would be like,
absolutely not. That doesn't
absolutely not. So it wouldn't go in the cart. Without her there, I bought like a pound of gummy bears and I ate them all on the drive there.
Nice.
Really hurt my stomach. Yeah, that was lunch and breakfast because we didn't.
It burned our nostrils.
It burned your nostrils the next day. So yeah, it was crazy. I got all the way down to Portland, and I got a message from Rick that had lost part of his ham antenna. And he's like, "Hey, is anyone near Portland that can stop by the ham outlet?" And I was like, "Well, it must be destiny. Okay, I'll stop by there for you, Rick." Because I didn't think I was going to catch up with Aaron, and I was going to take Hood over, which is a different way than you guys were planning. Mm-hmm. But apparently Google was telling me then, as I was there, that it was quicker just to head south I-5 and cut over.
Yeah, so, once you stop at the ham outlet, you are
it was
past
before
the point of no return.
It was before I even.
No, Tigard is south of Highway 84.
Well, no, but it was before that it had changed it for me to go through Southmore. It's saying that's faster than going Hood because there was some big accident up there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's understandable. As you find out 5 days later.
Yeah, so I'm there and I get down to the ham outlet, and then you're just getting on I-5, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll catch up to you maybe. I'm 20 minutes away from you." I thought you guys had stopped to eat food and we're kind of dinking around. So I'm going 80, 90, 95, possibly at some points to catch up to you guys. And I was like, I spent probably 2-3 hours just like, "Hey, I'm almost there. I'm like 15 minutes. I'm 19 minutes behind him. I'm 15 minutes behind him." Then I was like, screw it. I have to stop. I have to grab gas, and I'm bombing up the hill, and I lost signal. And you guys had lost signal because I lost you on the map. And then I'm driving through this next town, and I just happened to see Eric's Xterra at the gas station. I'm like, into the gas station. I'm like, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
Yeah, I'd been watching for you, and I thought, well, we stopped. Eric's filling up his jerry cans. That'll take a little bit extra time. I bet you Ben will be close. We'll just wait for him. And I was trying to watch for you, but I don't know if you have like Fisher Price for your Fisher Price for your cell phone carrier. Because you just didn't have signal anywhere.
No, I didn't. All weekend I had no signal.
Actually, we didn't have signal. I mean, we've got Verizon, and we had signal. We didn't have signal very much either. So
yeah, but there was places where you had signal that I didn't have signal. And then like I didn't get any cell phone signal until we got to the Alvord. So I don't know. So yeah, we all joined up together, at least the three of us, and we hustled down to. We were originally going to stop at this one town to get gas.
Lakeview. We were going to stop in Lakeview, but kind of did some math, and it said that we would make it to Adele, which was like 40 miles closer to our final destination for the night. And from there, we weren't going to get fuel ever again. So it was important that we filled up as close as we could. So
Yeah, and
I
it,
had
it was closer, but they closed at
Yeah.
8:00,
7.
o'clock.
7:00, and we got there at 6:45.
Yep. I called them the night before to confirm what time they closed, and they're like 7, and I'm like, okay, and you guys cook food there too, right? She was like, yeah. I said, okay, what time do you like shut the food off, like close the grill down or any of that? She's like, oh, we when we close, it's not a big deal. I was like, okay, cool, because we'll probably want to get some food while we're there also. And so we roll in, we're getting fuel. I walk in to get some food. I'm like, hey, what's cooking? They're like, oh no, we're closed. I'm like, no, but I called yesterday and
Yeah.
you said what you said, and they're like, oh well, yeah, but we already cleaned our grill. I was like, so like there's no food. But she's like, oh well, actually we have some of the leftover special, which is baked spaghetti and salad and French bread.
I think
garlic bread.
the reason why baked spaghetti was special that day was because the day before they had spaghetti. That's my guess.
It was still
Actually,
good.
the day before was taco something.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
It was Taco Tuesday.
Yep, because it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we did get to eat some leftovers that they dished out for us. So we had
Yeah.
leftovers for dinner from them, which was better than nothing, because we didn't pack any food for that evening, although we would have probably been fine. Looks like I just got a shout out in the comments there. Yep. So we got fuel, and then we headed for our first night stop, which was Virgin Valley in Nevada, some hot springs out there. And it was so cool. We crossed into Nevada, and we're gaining altitude, and we're just on these rolling hills, gaining altitude and dipping down and gaining altitude and dipping down. And you two were behind me the whole time. The sun's going down. There's like forest fire smoke in the air. So the sun is like this orangish red dot, not quite completely red, but not yellow like normal. And like in my side mirror, you guys, it was so Instagram awesome, because the road would be turning, and like both of you'd be lined up for these perfect shots. And I took all these cool pictures with my brain, but we were in a hurry to get there, so we didn't stop and take any pictures.
Literally had a passenger. He had a passenger and didn't use the passenger to take the picture.
No, because it seemed like we were always turning left, and they were never lined up in my
Oh,
passenger side
okay.
mirror and stuff like that.
So I was not driving and trying to take pictures with my cell phone.
What is it with you? 90 miles an hour, taking pictures while you're driving. If there's any officers listening, turn the podcast off.
I was actually sitting there with my phone. And I'm like, I didn't have the where you push the screen, where you just touch the screen and it takes as a picture. You actually have to touch the certain spot on the screen.
The button.
Yeah, the button. And so I tried. I was just sitting there holding it, moving it around, and my hand's like this. I can't control it. And finally, I think I got one. I actually shared it on my personal Facebook. And it's you in the background. Now, Aaron's not in it because that dude drives faster than I do. So yeah, it worked out okay. And we finally hit some dirt after a while, which was nice.
Not until we turned off. The gravel was basically at the place we were staying at for the night.
Yep. And then someone was flashing their lights at us. I imagine it was all the dust from behind us, or it was Coy trying to tell us to go over there. I think it was both times. I don't know.
Yeah, he said he wasn't flashing lights, so it probably was somebody complaining about his dust in the camp.
Could be, I don't know. But the people that were flashing lights also ran their generator all the way till 11 o'clock at night.
So
at 11:07 it shut off, and then the next morning they were up at 5 a.m. talking with their very loud voices. So 5 a.m. It was great.
I didn't hear any of it. I'm a sound sleeper, and we slept in our rig. So
yeah, you slept in late that morning.
He slept in late every morning.
Oh boy, I just got another shout out in the comments there. I'm not going to read that one because this is a family show. That night when we pulled into camp, I was like, "Hey, who wants to go in the hot springs?" It's like dark. We set up camp. It's after dark, so we're like, "Yeah, let's go jump in the hot springs." So everybody but Piv got in, and I don't know why they call it hot springs because it wasn't hot.
Yeah, it was just springs.
It was warm springs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It was like some tepid bath water. Tepid is that the right
I
word?
think tepid is the right word. That's
Yeah.
nice.
So, but like the rocks, because it had like pea gravel almost at the bottom, and that was nice and warm, like really
Yeah,
warm.
the rocks were warm. You could like scrunch your feet down into them and like heat up all of your feet.
I didn't try that.
That would like those tepid springs were great for, I think, really hot weather, and you just kind of want to chill out in the water. But at a late night swim, probably not the best idea, especially not in the winter.
And then we found out, well, the ladies who were in the hot springs found out that there were fish in the hot springs.
That's how you know when it's not a hot spring. There's actually fish swimming around your feet.
Oh,
And they're not the special carp that Coy was talking about at that other hot springs down in Oregon. Yeah, and the next morning when we were out there looking, they weren't small fish. They were like 4 and 5 inches long. They were.
I was going to throw a line in.
Yeah, I mean they're not big enough really to do anything with, but they aren't like the little tiny pond minnows.
sardines.
No, they were
that'd be
bigger,
definitely
decent
bigger
size.
they would. You'd have to have 2 sardine cans end to end to fit them in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
It's just 2 bites.
You just cut the fish in half, put it in one can.
there you go.
Mhm.
Whap, put them in the can. Good idea. Yeah, that was a nice place. I wish the water was warmer. The next morning, because I couldn't sleep because those jerks were up talking. I think I got up at 6 o'clock that morning on my first day of vacation. I'm getting up at 6 o'clock while camping, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go take a shower. This campground actually had a shower. The building right next to the hot springs had 2 shower heads in it, and the water just continually ran. So there was some sort of pressure from the hot springs, or maybe there's a pump. I could never tell. I didn't hear any noise, but showers are always running.
Were those just open showers?
They were, but you could lock the door from the inside. So I locked the door and
So you locked yourself in there?
locked myself in and got naked and ran. Turns out that the shower heads are also tepid water. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, I took a tepid shower, and that was one of the fastest showers I've taken in a long time.
Yeah, I woke up at 6 o'clock as well. I've been waking up early with physical therapy and all that, and it's like, oh, I'm up. Might as well just get out of bed instead of laying here. And it was like I was up. Rick had been up for a while. He'd gone on a walk, and
Well,
Aaron, old people, they wake up so early. They don't know what sleep is. And then this guy slept until like 10 o'clock.
Not
Speaking
10.
of-
I know. I'm just giving.
I was having a hard time figuring out how to sleep. I think it was the third night we actually figured out how to sleep inside the thing. It took us a while.
Sleeping inside. Yeah, sleeping inside of a vehicle can be challenging sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I've got it figured out with the Forerunner, but I still slept in my giant Gazelle. So
we should have swapped.
I told you guys you could have shared with me. I had room
Cindy
to cuddle.
snored.
Oh no, not share. No, swap, not share.
Yeah, it's slight detail there.
I don't wish that on anybody.
Feel sorry for my wife. She probably enjoyed the break from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, everyone else brought their wives. I was the only one without one there.
Yeah, you sure were.
Wheel.
We gave you grief about it the whole time.
Yeah. I was the 9th wheel.
You were the 9th wheel, yes.
Oh well. I was very well abused.
Yeah. Well, so day 2, we did communal breakfast. All of our breakfasts and dinners were communal for the whole trip, which was fun because it brought everybody around. Everybody's helping out, cooking or preparing or something. I guess not everybody, but
I didn't help out a ton, but like I think everyone kind of pitched in where they could. Coy, I gotta hand it to Coy. Jeremy wasn't there, so we kind of changed up the menu a little bit. And Coy jumped in, and he was doing a lot of cooking, and he did really good. His wife was right in there with him. Your wife was in there helping a lot. I ate bacon.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Rick,
think I did much.
I think I carried food over to them and set
Yeah.
it down on a table. I cracked some eggs, not only in my truck, but I cracked some eggs onto the scuttle too.
yeah, it was really cool. Our communal breakfasts and dinners.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Coyle,
So
since he was the one that cooked the whole time.
I made
Yeah.
dinner last night.
You did. You did.
Hot dogs on a
hot
scuttle.
dogs.
On a scuttle.
Yeah. We left that morning at 9:30 from camp, which I felt was a little late for what we had planned for the day. We had about 60 miles of off-road driving to do, and I wasn't sure. I mean, I'd been out there, but now I'm leading it. I don't know the roads that well, so I was concerned it would probably take us a lot of the day. And the next day we had an even bigger day. So we got on the road. We stopped for lunch at some other hot springs in the middle of nowhere. Um, I just went through the drone pictures, and I have a picture of Rick's wife naked in the hot springs.
Do you really?
He
Yeah,
deleted one, yeah.
I didn't know that they had already gotten into the hot springs. But it's actually a super I know people say naked is classy. It's a super classy photo because it's like a straight down shot, and she's wearing a sun hat. All you see is a sun hat and I think her legs in front of her. It's like you don't see any nudity at all. So in fact, you wouldn't even know she was naked unless you knew that she
You
was
were
naked
there.
because they were in the hot tubs naked. So it's a really cool photo, and I think that they'll think it's neat. But you have to zoom way in to see her. I was like looking at it, I was like, there's a person, and they were in the hot springs already. And so I zoomed in just to see, and it's pixelated when you get in really deep anyways, but yeah, it's a cool picture. I think you'll like that. Yeah, so we went to those hot springs, and then we had to go through this little canyon area on the way to an actual canyon. And when I went 2 years ago, we just decided to hike this box canyon real quick, and we came across this giant round pool of water, and but there was no way to get out. If you fell in this water, you just tread water until you died because the walls were high, and the ones that weren't high were undercut. So you just couldn't clamber up at all. And we just called it the pit of death. So we didn't know how deep the water was. When we drove by this time, there was no water. It all leaked or dried out. And you could see that had you fallen in it in May of 2 years prior, you would have probably died because it would have been about 8 feet deep of water. It was kind of a neat thing. I flew the drone down in there, got some neat photos of that. So I'll share that with the guys who were on the trip with me a couple years ago. I think they'll enjoy those pictures.
Yeah, they should. I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Well, and then after that, we checked out some homesteads. Those were really awesome. I really like those. It's kind of like a peek back in time.
It's weird to see that people actually tried to go out there and make a life out there. And because you go out there and it's like sage as far as you can see, and somebody literally lived there for a while. Who knows how long?
Yeah. And I was trying to engage my wife in some of that. This wasn't like her favorite kind of thing. And I'd ask her questions like, can you imagine being here 120 years ago? And where's your neighbors? How far are your neighbors? And literally, I mean, there were no other houses around that we saw. I mean, it doesn't mean that some could have been dilapidated or torn down or burned down, but it was tens of miles before you got to another homestead, which isn't that big of a deal in a car, but on a horse or an oxen dragging a wagon or whatever, that's a long ways just to get to a neighbor, let alone a town. And there's no trees. It's just sagebrush out there. And these houses were built with lumber and timber. So how far did they have to trek the material in just to get it there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you're talking wagons and stuff. And depending upon, I mean, there's a possibility that it might have been a little later and there were some trucks that were used. But even so, that's a lot of work.
Yep.
And I mean, you think about us driving through the terrain. Can you imagine that with really tiny, skinny bicycle tires? Well, I mean, they're bigger than that, but
Right.
still, compared to what we have
Narrow.
now, 33s and
31.7s.
yeah, that 0.7 really matters, doesn't it?
It does.
What did we? So that's about where we're going. Plan to stop, right, Aaron?
Yeah, so we were going to stop just at the entrance to an actual named canyon out there, and it's called High Rock Canyon. And then our next morning, we were going to get up and traverse through the canyon and make a loop around the mountain. But it was early. I think it was only 3 o'clock, and there was no amenities or anything. Like there's amenities anywhere out there, but there was nothing to hang out by for the evening. It wasn't that cool of a spot, so we decided to press on because I knew of another homestead that we could camp at that had a little cold water spring coming out of it, and I thought that'd be a neat place to stay. So we pressed on. So we went through the next day's stuff, added to our first full day. And that was a good thing because our next day was going to be a huge drive. It was 115 off-road miles compared to the 60 off-road miles that we were doing.
Yeah, and if we had finished by 3, then what was it? That's 6 hours. Is that 6 hours of driving?
Yeah.
9, 10, 11.
That's assuming everything
Yeah.
goes the way as planned,
Yeah.
which you can never. Yeah. You
Yeah.
never know.
So therefore, it was okay. Should we push, guys? And we were like, yeah, let's just push. And we got to that spot. What was it? Probably about 8 o'clock, 7.
No, it was definitely earlier than that. I think it was 6:30 when we eventually got to our campsite. But we had a little issue. We went through High Rock Canyon, and
The road ended.
Gaia. Well, the road didn't technically end. Well, technically the road ended. Physically, the road didn't end.
Yeah.
Gaia shows it going through. Google Maps shows it going through. The problem is that there's a sign that says it doesn't go through, which is unfortunate. It's a wilderness area now.
Yeah, it's really weird how they do that now. Is sections will, if I remember how it was explained, if something happens to the area, they'll reclaim it as wilderness after a while. Like they won't maintain the roads anymore, and away it goes. But it's still being used for cattle because when we got there, there was a corral and a bunch of cows looking at us like, "What the hell are you humans doing here?"
The sad thing about that is, keeping things natural and pristine is absolutely important. But if people can't get in there to look at it, nobody cares, and
Then it goes away.
It loses. Yeah, people quit caring. Bottom line,
And then it'll become townhomes.
yeah. Long commute. I don't know about townhomes out there.
Trailer park?
Maybe.
Maybe a trailer park. Yeah, so we got out there and we knew ahead of time because Rick warned me a couple days before that his map showed it as a wilderness area, and we knew that if we couldn't get through, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. We'd just be backtracking a little bit more miles than we had planned to initially drive anyways, so no big deal. So we ended up backtracking back through the canyon, popped out, and then went to a homestead, like I'd mentioned earlier, that had that cold spring. Camped there for the night. Pretty neat place. That night we tried to do some shooting. Apparently, no matter which direction you aim and no matter what gun or bullet size you use, they ricochet 110% of the time.
Ground there was so rocky, and it
reminds me of home.
Yeah, it was just ricochet after ricochet, and I actually wasn't really in the mood to shoot, which is kind of weird. And I was just kind of listening, and the wives were back there like, "Oh my goodness, we're gonna die." And I think it was you guys even changed spots,
Yeah.
and it still was just like, yep, nope, okay, we're done now. We're officially giving up on shooting right here. Which, had we had the time, we could have stopped there. It looked like someone had set up a pit for shooting, but
Yeah, there was a spot down the road that we probably could have driven to, but who wants to? Camp's all set up. I've got my rooftop tent open. I'm not going to go drive somewhere to go shoot.
It's not like there was a guy there with a 4Runner with no tent on it.
You said you didn't want to shoot?
I know. Really busting, isn't it? But yeah, that was a really cool campsite.
Yeah. The homestead it was kind of a neat one. It's one people have probably seen where they've probably seen my truck in the picture and the trees crashed on top of the homestead, and it's a fun one.
Yeah. And it's really cool going there after seeing the picture, because I didn't really think of the area looking like that. And then you see the whole area and it's like, oh, there's a whole lot more to this area.
Yeah. I forgot to mention the first night and now the second night, it was cold. It would be like in the 90s during the day, and at night, I bet you it was in the 40s at night, both the first
So
night.
I looked at my phone and it was only in the 50s.
Well,
Your
then
phone
the other
has a
thing is,
thermometer?
My phone, I was looking at the weather report for that day, but I mean, this is for the nearest town versus the desert area. So, I mean, you could probably take away a couple degrees too.
I'm going to say at least 49 degrees. I'm going to drop it under 50.
All right. Well, but
and it would have been hotter if the smoke layer hadn't been there. Imagine what the days would have been like.
So here's what we got to do. Now raise your hand if you bought a fan and brought it on this trip.
Yep.
That's not my hand.
And I know Coy did, and I don't think Rick did.
No, I don't think so.
They're old and cold anyways. Yeah. So yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was
so my fan didn't come out once. I brought that. I did specifically buy it for that trip, and to be able to cool the tent off at night before we got into bed, just get some airflow happening. And yeah, we got frozen out those first 2 nights, and I was really surprised by that.
So I brought mine, and I used it the first night, and I had the fan on. My fan also has a light behind it. I froze the first night because of it, and then I only used it as a light for the rest of the trip. That'll teach me.
Mine didn't even come out of the truck because mine was just a fan.
Yeah.
So,
what did we have for that night? Did we have tacos that night?
Yeah, first night was taco night.
Yeah.
Yeah, good tacos.
Taco Thursday.
Yep. Yeah, Coy brought some amazing guacamole in a tube. You just like squeeze it out.
He had this vest that folded into a pocket.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like it.
Yep.
It was amazing. We should have Coy on. We could do an episode about that, I bet.
About the vest.
That was the coolest thing. Actually, I have a kite. It folds into a pocket.
We'll get to that.
You're cutting ahead there a little bit.
It's coming. It's coming.
It is coming.
So the next morning we get up, same thing, combo breakfast. Kind of funny. 3 out of 4 of our breakfasts were essentially eggs. So we brought lots of eggs on this trip.
It's
I
like,
brought 5 dozen. I brought 5 dozen eggs, and Coy brought 3 dozen eggs.
And this is what happens when crazy chicken owners go camping. Hey guys, we're having eggs and eggs with some more eggs. I'm not going to complain.
Eggs, though.
No, they were great.
They were great.
Yeah.
Ate good.
Yep.
They were excellent.
Ooh.
Excellent. Oh my goodness. That morning we left that camp and we swung by this petrified forest place that had like this chain link fence around this petrified log. It was kind of neat to see.
It's so sad to see
petrified wood.
Well, it's sad that it can't roam free. They've got to put it in a cage. It's
Yeah,
sad.
well, and it's crazy because you think of a piece of petrified wood, it's maybe this big, and then that's like a whole stump. I mean, like
it was a log.
a log,
It
not a
was-
little log, like 3 feet,
So
4 feet light.
joking aside, it is sad that they had to chain it up and put it in a fence because people screwed with it and probably knocked it over.
Well, so was it your friend
Dan,
that had been there before? He had said that it was at once a tree,
a standing tree.
a standing tree with branches, and
Petrified
when-
branches coming off of it.
Petrified
How amazing
branches.
was that?
which would be really cool to see. And here it was there, and maybe 4 foot tall, with the piece that had been put on top, on top of
Two
it.
pieces put back on top of the stump with a large, long piece sitting beside it where it had been toppled. So yeah, I mean, the whole tread lightly thing, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be nice to be able to, for my kids to see these
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
and not have to be caged like wild animals.
Yeah.
Because it kills visiting it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look, it's a rock in a cage, not a tree in a meadow.
I mean, eventually that would have fallen, but it was not done naturally.
Yeah.
It was not done naturally.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And that's when we got to some high speed driving.
Yeah. So this was day 3. This is the day I said that was 115 miles. We cut some of that out from the previous day. We cut about 30 miles of that out. So, we
It's
still
a good
had
thing there was a lot of plaque reading that day.
quite a bit of what?
Plaque reading.
Plaque reading, yes. Yeah. There were lots of plaques that Rick found and enjoyed the history of them. We actually we joked that we should just, whoever's in the lead, take a picture and text it to Rick so he doesn't have to stop to read it.
Well, it was funny. So to Rick's credit, he was experiencing a problem with his Jeep. It's like a Jeep thing that we just wouldn't understand.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
And so he had pulled the fuse that turned off his HVAC because basically it was blowing 74-degree air, and he couldn't turn it off. He couldn't turn it on, and it was just miserable. So they had to have the windows down. I mean, they could have put the top down, but driving behind any of us, it was dusty.
Yeah.
So it was windows down and enjoy what you got there. So they were sticking back a little ways and moving at an okay pace to keep up with us, but stay away from us. So stopping and going, it was
worked out.
It worked out okay. So,
It wasn't a problem. I don't think he was ever more than 10 minutes behind us.
No,
that wasn't a big deal at all. But
no, it
so
would give us time.
We had a lot of miles to cover. It wasn't that we had a lot of places to go, but we had to get to our next night's camp spot, which was a long distance away. And I knew that there was going to be some rough roads on that day for sure. So that morning we got up an hour earlier and we left camp a half hour earlier than the day before. I'm not sure how that translated, but
Well, we had to pack up our stuff. We had to pack up the bathroom.
That's true, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some high speed running to do. So we kicked it into high gear on the roads that were smooth enough for us to do high gear, and
nice smooth gravel roads with some bumps in them.
Gravel road. Yep. And it couldn't have been 5 minutes into our trip. Coy lost his
Yep.
Came around a corner and
so I was behind Coy, and I watched it kind of unfold because it was hard to see it all because it was dusty, but I seen him take the corner really wide, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. And then he comes around the corner and he just, his whole rear end just gets squirrely, and I'm behind him. I'm just bombing it, and I see him getting all squirrely up ahead, and then he pulls over and stops. I'm like, what was that about? Like, did he drop something? Did his roof smack him? And so he stops and we hop out, and his lower control arm is just hanging there. a little boltless, a little nutless. Yeah. So we all got out and started looking for it. And I hopped in Rick's rig and we drove back a mile or so
And then some of us walked
on foot,
looking in the road, looking in the ditches.
and we
I
could not.
didn't do anything.
No,
I stood there. I stood there and watched Coy work, and then I'd point my finger and I'd say, "Would you look at that? Just look at it. Look at that. Just look at it. Look at that."
And so, yeah, Coy and you, Jimmy rigged it up for the weekend, a little trail fix.
But then he
Yep.
took off to try to look for the bolt himself,
And-
or to test his rig. I don't know what he was doing, but
and-
anyway.
And then
Both.
I
It
was
a little
done.
both.
I was done looking. I was like, I've looked good enough for me. I would have given up at this point. And I go stand by my rig and I'm like,
And,
oh,
and
hey,
then
I have a kite.
Hey, hang on. It was Ruth. Have you seen this? Ruth, check this out.
And I have this kite.
This
And it
pocket.
holds in a pocket.
This pocket folds into a kite.
And so I unfolded it and I flew a kite.
Yep.
Which is, I bought the kite for my son's birthday when we were at the beach on Ocean Shores. It's really popular to fly kites there. And after we were done there, it's like, well, how often am I going to use this? I'm like, I don't care. I'll just throw it in the door. It's so small. And so it sits on my door, inside my door panel. I'm like, well,
And we
perfect
both
time to fly
thought
kite.
that the best thing to do when somebody's rig is broken is to the fly
Go
kite.
fly.
Go fly a kite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's going to be the next overland craze. I think kite flying will be the next overland craze.
Yeah, it's overlap.
But the kite has to fit in a pocket.
It's overlap. It's
Correct.
Olaf. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we Jimmy rigged it and got on the road. We lost probably 40 minutes on that trail fix, which doesn't sound like much for a trail fix, but it really did cut into our time. So
Yeah,
we did try to
that meant-
do as much as
that
we could.
meant that Aaron drove even faster, and I drove even faster, and Eric
Yeah.
drove even slower. And actually,
I was hanging out with Rick.
and Coy,
Yeah,
because then Coy,
Yeah, because Coy couldn't go
Yeah,
fast.
Coy
was
was
taking
didn't
back
want
too.
Coy was like, I have to make this last the weekend. I'm gonna
Mhm.
drive reasonably well so that I don't break my rig some more.
I was actually happy we gained somebody on the slow team.
Captain Slow.
Team slow. Woo!
Woo.
Yeah. Well, it is just kind of my personality. If there's a goal, I'm driven to achieve that goal, and sometimes I get tunnel
Drives
vision,
everything
and
insane. It's
and
like,
I'm
dude,
not
slow down. I'm trying
not
to take
seeing, I'm
pictures
not
of your
stopping.
rig.
Yeah.
It's like there was some really cool stuff where it was like, this is fabulous photo moments, and here's Aaron.
Well, you're not in his rig.
Bye.
Let him go.
Well, I
Stop and
wanted to
take your
take
pictures.
pictures of him
Oh, okay.
and everyone else.
It's just a Nissan.
I mean,
Come on.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I mean, we drove
yeah.
through some
we
beautiful
we drove
areas.
pretty fast, but we did get a lot of pictures, even though I can't remember where we stopped for lunch that day. What did we do for lunch?
We stopped at a hot spring.
No,
No, it's day 2.
I don't think so.
Did we stop? For
Did we
lunch that
stop
day?
for lunch or did we just bomb through?
Yeah, I can't remember what we did for
No,
lunch.
we stopped at that lake.
Did we stop at?
I think we stopped
there,
at
did we?
No, it wasn't. I don't
No.
think so.
Well, we stopped somewhere and had. Oh no, it was at that one spot where you guys did a group photo that I wasn't in.
Did we do a group photo?
I don't know. You guys stopped somewhere. We stopped somewhere. We
I got
ate.
nothing.
It was like sandwiches and stuff, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Well, so on our way to our destination, we had to drive around some lakes before we could start climbing the mountains. And
Gorgeous lake.
2 years ago when I drove this, I drove around the front side of this lake. This year, our route took us around the back side of this lake. And I remember where we stopped for lunch. Just outside of that reservation, we popped into that little cabiny place that was no trespassing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't eat much
Yeah,
for
we
lunch
got-
because the
No,
breakfast
it was
were so
it was a short one.
bulky.
And
Yeah.
it was we got stuck behind Chevy Colorado and a 5th gen 4Runner on street tires at full psi pressure to the
Oh my
max,
goodness.
doing
I was
like
so
5 miles an hour.
I was behind the 5th gen and I'm just looking at their wheels. I'm like, dang, they're not aired down at all. Their backs got to be killing them. They had to been like running at like 55 psi, just like slam. My back. Not really that high,
I
but
don't
you
know.
know.
I don't know if they were adventure seekers or hunters. I'm not sure which, because it was antelope season, so some of that was happening out there. But they eventually did pull off. They had lots of options to pull off, and then I think I just kept
Finally,
getting
they-
closer and closer
yeah.
and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer.
If we wanted to be like have one of the signs that pop up that says, you know, if you're blocking more than 5 vehicles, you need to. It's illegal.
Exactly.
I don't think they'll put those out there.
No, not out there.
Hey, at least they
I
weren't in a
don't think
speed
they
report.
would.
Oh my goodness, that guy.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah.
Yep. So we stopped there for lunch at that little old cabin place that it was private property. And then we drove around the backside of this lake that I had driven on the front side before, and it was jaw-droppingly gorgeous. There wasn't a person on the trip who didn't think that that was the most amazing place in the world.
I was expecting like a dragon to pop out or some like
and eat a cow.
and some like knights be fighting in a field, and it
I
was
was- Yeah, it was like some scene from Lord of the Rings or the BFG, the new Big Friendly Giant movie that came out a few years ago. It was just phenomenal. Just giant piles of rocks and the mountains just going jagged up and down, and obviously
I'm
the lush
chasing
green
there and
mountains.
trying to take pictures. And
Here we are again.
And he calls back on the radio. Oh, don't worry, there's plenty of rocks like this where we're camping. Don't worry, we'll just keep moving. And I'm just like, slow down.
And what was really cool was on the backside of this lake, we're just driving and boom, there's a house.
That was $1 million view.
Yeah.
Probably
why
wasn't. You
Why
probably
did the
didn't.
cameras zoom in when I said boom? Did you see that?
I don't know.
I said
Boom.
yeah, like that. I said boom, and the cameras went in and out.
Yeah, I don't know. It was gorgeous out there, and I bet they didn't pay anywhere near $1 million. Maybe might have spent that with what they had to pay to get the materials in. Like maybe they had to use a helicopter, but it was worth every cent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Coy's in the comments, and he said that the cabin was called Stanley Cabin.
Yeah.
But don't look it up. Don't bother.
Well, it's private property. You really can't do anything there anyways. Yeah, the lakes were cool. We parked on the far side of the lake. We talked about stopping so we could dip our feet in the lake, and I was like, you can see the water from here. The wind is blowing all the algae to this side. Let's traverse to the other side, and we
there's
stop
like
there
little
for some photos.
Blue layer of I don't know what.
Yeah, it
I
was
wanted
strange.
to jump in so bad.
It had literally a chemical
We
smell.
wanted you to jump in so bad too.
I also did not want to grow a third head, so I chose not to. Yeah,
we should check on Zag because I know Zag went in for a dip.
Yeah.
Zag
is
the pup.
our camp dog.
Yep. We eventually got towards the high altitude lake that we were going to and had to put it in 4-wheel drive for pretty much the first time on the whole trip. We all drove 2-wheel drive for this whole experience, except for like 1 or 2 spots where it got loose and uphill for, I don't know.
Yeah, and we
had
and we probably could have gone without it.
Well, the trail that ended, and when we had the very small water crossing, that's where we all had to hit 4 to go over that hill. That was where my damage enhancer pushed into my bumper, but luckily didn't wreck anything. I should have taken that thing off.
Let's do it after this. Like
we could.
We'll use my Bubba rope and we'll hook it on.
Yeah, no, not like that.
Oh.
Anyway, we did 4 there, and then but yeah, up until that spot, and then where you're talking now, yeah, everything was 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we started doing some serious climbing in altitude. And everybody's trucks are weighted down pretty well because that's what overlanders do. You bring all the things: UFO lights, kitchen sinks, too much firewood, fans that you won't need, way more food than you really need, extra
Your wife.
fuel,
Your wives.
yeah, all the stuff you didn't need.
Wait a
So,
minute.
yeah,
That's not what
Oh, that's not what you meant?
yeah.
Yeah, so we seriously needed to put it in 4 low for the climbs. And then we're going, and there'd be some
descents.
rocky sections.
And the descent. Wait. Hold on. Let me look
Well,
at
no,
Eric. The descents.
Yeah.
we're not there. We're not there yet. So, as we're climbing, we actually came across some like Moab type rock coming out of the ground, where it's just this rolling slab of rock. Some of it was shelf like, and some of it was just kind of mogul like, that you had to creep and crawl up over it. And you definitely couldn't have done it in 2-wheel drive, or probably not even 4 high, because of how steep of an angle things were.
Yeah, you definitely needed to be aired down and take your time.
Lock up.
Nah, I didn't need to lock up. I didn't.
Okay. All right.
I don't have lockers to lock up. So, but I mean, I did it just fine. I didn't slip at all. And, I just put in 4 low and just kind of crawled up it and it was nice and fun. It was kind of exciting. Jeremy.
That's something we didn't mention at the very beginning was we aired down the morning of our first full day. We aired down, and I think everybody ended at like 20 psi. Some people went higher than 20, but they eventually got down to 20 psi. I don't think anybody aired down lower than that. I feel like I could have gone lower. Maybe we would have saved a few more eggs. But
yeah, I was 15.
Another thing that was interesting, and Rick was the one that pointed this out to me, and I checked it, is he double checked because of the weather. He aired down to 20, but because it was getting so warm, he had to air down again. And I know I gained 2 pounds in the hot weather. I mean, 2 pounds isn't going to do a lot,
No,
but if you're
more than that,
if you're cutting it close,
3.
was it 3?
Yeah.
Anyway, if
you're 3, not 2.
if you're cutting it close, or you double check.
Yeah.
Well, what it was is because some of the wheels, I don't know, maybe it was your deflator versus my deflator, and how accurate they are.
Okay, he's got a digital one.
Yeah, could be. Well, so we did air down, and that, I believe that helped us on this trip immensely, not only for cushioning our ride, but for being able to be in 2-wheel drive most of the time. With the tires aired down, you had really good traction even on the loose stuff.
Oh yeah, we had fun, fast on the loose stuff.
Yeah, so we go up, and eventually you had to come down, and then we went up some more and down some more. But the first time we were going down, we had some comms issues. The radios that we were using weren't the highest quality, and we weren't completely reaching through to everybody each time, especially Eric. I'd called over the radio because we were trying to give some hints and pointers to Eric. This was his real first off-road trip besides wheeling in Tahuya with Jeremy. This is his first real off-road trip with his rig.
And to credit you on that is you've never been on a trip where it's long-winded like this with a long climb and descent with it. So it's knowledge you wouldn't have beforehand. So
I made sure to call on the radio, Eric, make sure you keep it in 4 low. And if you needed your lockers to go up, keep your lockers on to go down if it's a similar situation. And I should have said, did you copy? Because Eric didn't copy.
I didn't copy.
And so Eric was in 4 high.
No, worse.
2-wheel drive?
Okay, so get this.
2-wheel drive.
We climbed, and I got to the top, and my mentality was, okay, I've made it to the top. Let's throw it back in 2. Keep going. So
and soon after that, I hear on the radio.
No, to add insult to injury, my wife turns to me and says, shouldn't you leave it in 4? And I said, no, 4 is for climbing. We're heading down. No big deal. And so she did remind me that as I burned my brakes to the point where I I kind of stopped.
He got some squishy pedal.
I got some really squishy pedal. And so, yeah, then that's when I called out on the radio and said, hey, guys, I can't stop anymore.
Well, it's to your credit. I'll give you this. I was in 4 high. I should have been in 4 low.
I'm going
And
to.
I was using
And your
my
wife didn't tell you to stay in 4.
Well, she wasn't there to tell me to stay in 4 low. And I think Rick wasn't engine braking much either, which was really killing him because he had that trailer behind him. Rick brought his trailer.
No, he was engine braking, but he doesn't have trailer brakes.
Oh, that's what he was saying. Okay, his trailer brakes, and that hurt him.
So
I think
we cooled off the brakes, threw it back into 4 low. No, I waited around and ate trail mix. And after that, and it was explained to me to manually shift and all that fun stuff. I don't think I used my brakes at all after that, through the rest of that. And that's good tip to those who have never done this before.
I mean, you've got to learn. It's how you learn is by doing. Everyone can tell you everything under the sun, and until you do it, you won't learn.
And the good news is that nobody
got hurt.
Nobody got hurt, and it could have been disastrous. It could have seriously been disastrous. So
yeah, I was glad that when you realized your brakes were squishy, you called over the radio and said, "Hey, something's wrong. My brakes are really squishy." Oh, actually, at that same time, I think I started overheating a little bit because I flipped my radiator cap and it was all boiling. So yeah, you weren't the only one making mistakes out there.
So so we went down, and then we had to cross a little tiny stream, and then we went back up again and kept climbing, and then we got to some cool trail where there were big boulders in the ground that you had to drive over, around, not so much around, maybe, I don't know, maybe boulders is the wrong word, but they were very large rocks.
Very large. Jeremy would have loved those rocks.
And it wasn't just like flat ground. You were climbing. Once again, you're climbing, and you have to off-road while you're going up. So it was that was a fun section. We got to the top of the lake. When I was there 2 years ago, it was empty. There was nobody camping there. This time there was 2 rigs there, and those jerks were hogging the good spots. Just because they got there first doesn't mean they should have taken the good spots.
Yeah, we should have made a move. We should have been like, "Hey, Hunter, move. Hey, you Fisher boys,
Fisher boys,
because they were like young.
They were young, and they were in a Camry.
No, they were in a Camry, a white Toyota Camry, off-road Pro.
Yeah,
a Corolla. Okay, whatever.
No, we were getting
luxury model.
We were getting to the very top, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this, guys!" I'm on the radio saying this. I'm like, "Ugh, we might as well turn around and go home." It's a Toyota Corolla that's up here.
I know. I was like, wow.
I believed him. That's how stupid.
No, I actually believed him too. I'm like, I bet there's another way up here, and Aaron just took us the fun way.
Oh, okay.
I would take the fun way up. Why not?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we get up there, and there is no other way to get up there, and it's a Toyota Tacoma. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. And a really awesome lifted van.
Yeah,
not a minivan, like a panel van.
It was a Ford Econoline van with the 4-wheel drive package. Yeah,
nice,
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it was a sweet rig.
He was nice
camp
guy.
setup. We had some dinner that night. We did the Philly cheesesteaks for dinner.
Philly cheese.
That was worth it.
Bad news. Double bag your Ziploc meat. Otherwise, the meat juice drips out all over the inside of your ARB fridge and all over the tops of all the cans of your soda.
I bet if the driver of that vehicle, aired down some more and drove a little more considerately.
I wasn't the only one with Ziploc problems on this trip, was I, Eric?
Yep. No. My blackberries leaked all over my water bottles.
And I've got
water. It kind of tasted like infused water, though, so it wasn't a big deal for me.
And I got ice water in my provolone. So
yeah. That sounds like a personal problem. So we had dinner, and it's starting to get dark, and I was itching to get up to the lake. When I was there 2
Yes,
years
he was.
ago, the lake was frozen over. I wanted to go see it again. So I flew my drone up, and I was like, "Oh, nothing's frozen over. There's water in all the lakes. Let's go." So I conned some people into coming up with me. Some
Yeah,
people were
you
like,
did.
"Yeah, I don't really want to go."
Wish I
And I
could
went
up
over
there.
to Rick. I was like, Rick, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go skinny dipping. Do you want to come? And Rick was like, "Oh, skinny
Down.
dipping.
No, you
I'm
know, it's funny.
down."
He didn't tell me he was skinny dipping.
No, just Rick.
Just Rick. Just Rick.
No,
And it's
I didn't tell Ruth either, or my wife,
nope.
or anybody else. I just
So
Rick was the one. I
Rick.
mean, I
So
figured we're gonna get up there after dark. Doesn't
so
matter.
so this guy makes fun of his friend Daniel, your friend Daniel too,
Yeah.
about skinny dipping, and then here he is, and I'm like, I get up there, I almost died hiking up this hill because
Yeah, you did.
what was it, like 1,000 feet elevation gain in a mile?
And yeah,
And
Three quarters
it
of a
was
mile.
like
Record. I'm
1100.
not in shape. I'm not
Yeah.
in shape at all. My shape is round, and I get up there, I'm about to die, and then I die as soon as I see Aaron stripping off all of his clothes to hop.
No, that's
No, he
not
wouldn't
what
be.
you saw.
No. It was funny. It was all dark, but like Ruth was like, "Yep, no, I'm gonna go scout out the trail." Because we kind of did a little bit of bushwhacking from the side of the little lake that we ended up out to go up to the upper one. And I'm like, I'm hopping in this lake. I'm hot and overweight and just want to get in the water. And here's Aaron's like, hey, don't look over here. And I'm having flashlight problems, so I can't even see where the lake is.
Well, I did.
I
To
missed
be
out.
fair, I did tell everybody that I was going to be skinny dipping,
Except
and
for me.
Ruth was like, "No problem, I'll go look around." And they knew that Rick and his wife were going to be skinny dipping also.
Yeah,
And then I did tell
feel that.
before I started getting naked, I let Ben know, "Hey, gonna get in here naked. I don't see a reason to get my swim trunks wet. It's dark. As long as you don't shine the flashlight at me, nobody's gonna see anything."
Yeah,
So, yep. So we got in the lake, and it was
amazing.
cold, but not too cold.
It was
pretty
amazing.
rad.
I felt so good hopping
Yeah.
in that lake. Like it revitalized me. It wasn't glacial cold. It
Mhm.
was nice and cool. And I mean, you
Yeah.
got out and it was freezing, like freezing, but it was nice.
I missed
It was
out.
crazy because
Yeah, you did.
so that lake drains into like 4 more lakes that are all just kind of chained together, and somehow those other 4 lakes are just shallow. I'd be surprised if they get over 12 feet deep, maybe. But
That
that
was
lake,
hitless.
like the water went down, and then it just went boosh deep. So I don't know. I just don't know how it's. I'm actually looking at it on a map right now. It's not in like any sort of valley. It's just like a high altitude lake. So it's not like a valley that got plugged and turned into like a reservoir of water. It's just a depression in the ground. So
And there's trout up there.
yeah, there was fish. The Fisher boys brought back fish
I didn't see
that
him.
night.
We actually, so one of the first little lake we popped out at, Aaron was shining his flashlight in there and you could see the fish.
Yeah.
Would have been
Pretty
good
neat.
for night fishing.
Yeah.
Only if someone had fishing poles and
If only
there.
somebody
Yeah, if
had a
only somebody
license
brought
to
some.
fish in Nevada.
Yep.
Yep. Well, so we went skinny dipping. 3 out of 4 of us went. Actually, 3 out of 5 of us went skinny dipping. And it did feel good to get clean because it's a dusty trail and hot. So it was nice to get clean, wash the sweat and the dust off, and got back down to camp. And we had a propane campfire going that night, which was
Yep.
kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah, the spot we were, there wasn't a fire ring. There just wasn't a safe spot to have a fire. And as we mentioned, there was forest fires in the area.
Yeah.
And we did not want to add to them.
Yeah.
So a propane fire pit you can take anywhere, and unless there's an absolute restriction on anything with a spark, then you're good.
So we played some card games that night and just general BS around the propane fire and went to bed. And I made sure to let everybody know, okay, last 2 nights been cold. We're way higher in elevation than the previous 2 nights. It's going to be cold.
Could be
Just heads
super
up, it's
cold.
going to be extra cold tonight. Extra cold. It was the warmest night ever.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
It was ridiculous. I bedded down with some extra layers. I didn't vent my rooftop tent, and I was like sweating throughout the night. I'm like, what in the world?
You just can't win, can you?
No, it couldn't. No. So next morning we packed up. We had eggs for breakfast.
And we had a
And-
casualty, a coffee casualty.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
I earned my off-road podcast sticker, and I was being asked where I wanted it, and I was like, right here. Close my my hatch, and didn't remember that
you
I
murdered
put my
your French press.
my French press on the back bumper, and
I think
Yeah.
that's how it works. If
I
you
got my
want-
sticker though.
I got your sticker.
Coy and I heard it, and we look up
Yeah,
because
expecting
you were
the whole
shutting your
thing.
hatch, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And thankfully, it was just his French press, not his back
Right.
glass in his window. I thought he showed his back window on something hard, because that'd be miserable for 2 more days of dusty roads. Having
Yeah.
no back window.
Oh, you could, tape up a garbage bag back.
I did
there.
have duct tape.
I did
So-
too.
Anyway,
Yeah, we could have made something work if only had a garbage bag that was in the size of a pocket that folded out into a garbage bag or something like that.
Yeah.
So that day was going to be our last big day off road, and we were headed to Oregon that next morning. We stopped in Denio, fueled up, got ice. Ben foolishly got a milkshake.
Oh my goodness! Not only did I foolishly get a milkshake, which if I would have just had the one milkshake, I would have been fine. But I'd also bought something I regularly consume is orange juice and Red Bull. You combine the two, and it's really good. But I had those on top of that. I had that on top of the milkshake, and it just turned my stomach like, oh.
Huh. Orange juice and milk. And Red Bull. I wonder. Yeah.
So
Great
yeah,
combination.
terrible conversation.
I think there's witches in a forest somewhere mixing that up in a cauldron.
Yeah. So we fueled up in Denio, got some stuff. Oh, actually, before we hit Denio, we swung by one more hot springs. This one's pretty famous in that area. It's just outside of Denio. It's called Bog Hot. And it's
Heavy on the hot.
it's a river of hot water. And
Oh yeah.
I remember it from 16 years ago as a kid, and that's I want to swing by her again. And it was hotter than I remembered as a kid. Although I've heard some stories from somebody who went down there recently that heard from a local that it's gotten way hotter, and they actually had to like life flight or do something to rescue somebody from the hot spring that got too hot in there. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
I think
unfortunate.
it was like their dog. I think their dog jumped in, and the guy jumped in after the dog. I think that's what it was.
Oh,
So,
Wow.
anyways,
really bad dog.
yeah, it was so hot. I went in up to a little above my knees, just the bottom of my swing trunks got wet. A lot of people just went in with their feet only.
Yep.
And then Rick got to show off firefighter, his firefighter prowess. He's just laying in it, and it's
Full dip.
No, but you gotta remember, Coy went down and was trying to look for a spot farther down that might be cooler and deeper, and there wasn't one.
Nope.
And I
it
had
still
walked
was
down
hot.
there, and so Coy walked all the way back down, and he was like, screw it, I'm in here, and he jumped in.
Yeah.
And then got
So-
out.
Head under.
Coy went in
Put
all
his
the
whole
way.
head under. Yep.
And then
And then
I was like, screw this, we're here, I'm doing this. And I like took off my belt and scared the ladies. And then as I'm getting ready to dive in, Aaron is like, hey, what's in your pocket? And I pull out my wallet and I throw it at him. And then I dived in.
So you and Coy did full dip, but what you fail to remember is that Rick was in the water watching that happen. So he was in there the whole time. That guy's a
Rick
man.
was in it for like 20 minutes up to
Yeah,
his neck.
yeah.
20
He's a
minutes in
man.
that water.
And he walked
can't-
out a lobster.
Like a lobster. He was red.
Red Rick.
So we goofed around there for a little bit, and then Coy and his wife Ruth and me and my wife, we drove up to the entrance of where the water comes out of the ground, the source. And before I got there, Ruth tested the water temperature with her foot.
Yeah.
She just stuck her foot in to see how warm it was, and
Instantly
instead of
regretted.
using her finger. Yeah, and she instantly regretted it. And then the very next day, she had like burn marks on her foot, just like you get a suntan from how hot that water was.
And the interesting part is her shoes had little polka dot holes in them, kind of like Crocs do, but it's like a jelly. I don't know what they call those types. And it was all of those spots. So like, it's
every exposed skin. And then she also said that unfortunately the water got in her shoe and she was having a hard time shaking the water out. It was painful, evidently.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
So
so test the water appropriately.
Not with your finger, not your foot.
Yep.
Or if you have a candy thermometer. Aaron was saying that he wanted to.
I think you need a mechanical thermometer to test these things. I brought my laser thermometer, my Harbor Freight laser thermometer, and it's been good for me.
Your COVID.
I tested it at the source and it was 126 degrees at the source. Nobody believes me. Everybody thinks it's hotter than that. I don't
That's
know.
pretty hot.
That is.
I challenge everybody to fill up a pot of water to 126 degrees
and jump in.
Stick something in it.
Yeah, no.
See how hot it is.
A lobster.
Yeah. So we left Denio. Denio is like the last town before you get to the Oregon border, crossed into Oregon, and ended up 20 miles later in a town called Fields. I asked the guy who's running the show there, how many people live in Fields nowadays? And he said, 12.
Wow.
That's small.
The dating scene must be amazing there.
What made me think about asking that question was when I was in Denio, I overheard some people talking at the food counter at the grocery store or / gas station / convenience store / restaurant / hangout meeting place / bar. Yeah. And she said that the school had 7 kids enrolled this coming year. So the whole school. Not like the graduating class. It was the whole school, 7 kids.
They don't have to worry about socially distancing.
Yeah.
No, they don't, do they? Yep. So we pop into Fields, and for all of the Oregon overlanders out there listening, you know all about Fields. It's where you get milkshakes.
And tuna sandwiches.
They bring all the boys to the yard.
You know, I'm really sad I didn't get a milkshake because I watched Aaron eat a milkshake and a half, right?
Mm-hmm. With his wife yelling at him.
With his wife yelling at him the entire time. You're gonna get sick. So sick. And then Coy and Ruth had milkshakes. Did you have a milkshake?
I did. I had the 3C. Caramel, coffee, chocolate.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Yeah.
I'm really regretting not getting a milkshake there. And I was thinking as we were leaving on Sunday, hey, we might go by Fields. I can grab a milkshake then. No, we didn't even go that way.
No.
So
I would have gone back, actually. You guys made the loop. I would have gone back to Fields for ice cream.
Well, so I think it was birthday cake. I don't think it was called birthday cake. I can't remember.
No, it was funfetti.
Oh, funfetti. Thank you. Yep. I had funfetti. It was the special of the day. I wouldn't normally get funfetti, but I was like, I'm going to try something different. And it was decent. I won't get it again. I'll try something different for sure the next time.
It's probably like a vanilla with candy in it.
It was kind of like cake batter flavored with sprinkles.
Sounds good. I'd eat it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was decent. I mean, I ate the whole thing. Don't get me wrong.
Plus
and My wife got Oreo cookie flavored, and it was just too much for her, so I ate the rest of hers. I could not let it go to waste. That's a criminal offense.
And
I believe it is.
I gotta say, I was looking at the prices. Those milkshakes are not expensive. Like you go to Red Robin and get a milkshake. Probably not the best place to get a milkshake, but that's an expensive milkshake. Their Fields, for where they are and all that was fairly priced.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been on the trail for several days, you pop
Oh,
into
yeah.
a place, having a milkshake is an absolute must. It's a great treat.
Maybe we should stop this conversation because they might hear it and hike the prices up because they know.
Yeah. Did you have a burger?
I did. Yep.
And all right, so we had Koi's chef tongue complain about it last episode. What did you think of the burger? Was it good? Was it okay?
Unfortunately I ate too much milkshake to enjoy the burger. In fact, I didn't even finish my French fries. And I honestly, we ate so much breakfast and our breakfasts were so late that I wasn't that hungry. It was an all right it was an all right burger. It wasn't like some juicy, amazing thing. I ordered a bacon cheeseburger, and the bacon definitely was good. So, yeah. How was your tuna sandwich?
It's really good. I would have added cheese.
My wife got a BLT, and she liked her BLT. She thought it was good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she had it the next night. So my tuna sandwich actually came with pasta salad, and that was really good.
Yeah. Well, we left Fields, and what all the Oregon Overlanders know is next to Fields is the Alvord Desert and the playa, the dry lake bed out there. And I'd been out there several times. I really didn't need to go back, but I wanted to let you two yahoos experience the playa. So,
I'm glad we experienced the playa because I got to have a race with somebody.
With who?
With you.
I think it was you. I think you just raced yourself.
I don't know because Koi was sitting in the passenger seat, and I won.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the reason why you won because I had my truck slowing me down, and I had the rooftop tent on top of my truck, so I'm like a brick going down the highway. And you have smaller tires than I do, so you got more quicker acceleration off the line.
How big tires do you have?
I think they're 33.4.
Oh, so you have.
I started the trend. Everybody's
he's
putting
like
their points in there now.
He's got like
He would've said
0.7 bigger
33.
tires than I do.
Yep. See
That 0.7 matters apparently.
No, I have to say Ben did beat me. He did jump the gun.
A little.
He didn't apparently understand the rules that it was 3, 2, 1, go, not 3, 2, 1, go. So he jumped the gun, but he still pulled away from me the whole time.
I had by the time
slowly
you stopped, I had 3 lengths on you.
By the time we hit 80, well, that's funny because 2 days ago you said it was 2 lengths on me, but by the time we hit 80, Ben was definitely a couple car lengths at least ahead of me at 80 miles an hour.
And I kept going after you stopped. I got up to 95.
Yeah. He did the Ricer flyby thing. I'm surprised I didn't see the flashers come on, like letting me know that he won.
I actually did hit my hazard lights.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I was like, yes. I wish I would have had. So I don't have my my SAR lights all hooked up because had I had them hooked up, I would have turned all of those on and just been like sparkling ambers. Woo!
Well, another thing we did on the playa was we did a group photo / drone shot where so Rick parked and then everybody lined up off of his trailer kind of in a starburst pattern, and we on a 3, 2, 1 go, we all shot away from each other with the drone looking straight down on it, and that was kind of a fun thing until I lost the drone. I mean, because everybody drove away from where the drone was, so I'm trying to look around. I'm spinning the drone 360 degrees, looking farther out.
There's not a lot of things on a playa to get a.
No, I couldn't be like, oh, see, yeah, there's that house there.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like you were like, oh look, there's a car in the distance. That might be us. Oh no, that's the wrong car. And
Well,
it's
no, I did see
wrong direction.
the first car I did see was Eric, but Eric was 180 degrees away from me, driving
And
away from me.
yeah, and I was leaving the play. I didn't want to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
And
wanted to get back.
It was
only
hot.
have so much range with the drone, and I was like, well, I could follow. No, I shouldn't follow him because then I'm going to lose him. And shame on me. I was kind of in a hurry because we wanted to get to our campsite for the night. I didn't let the drone find its GPS source, so I couldn't like tell it go back to home and like land somewhere. Oh, and the
Yeah,
drone is white on the white
Yeah.
playa. So I mean, if it did land, we'd probably run it over.
yeah. I actually took a cool shot of my wheels and tires afterwards. They were all white. That's like the new trend is going to be white tires.
White wheels, white walls.
Yeah, white
Um,
wall and
yeah.
wheel.
Eventually I found the drone and I brought it down, and there was a good crosswind, and like it crashed as soon as it touched down, but that's all right. Nothing broke. That was the only time it crashed on the whole trip. But it was a fun shot, but I definitely for probably 5 minutes straight was struggling to find it and was super stressed out because it's not my
Because it doesn't
drone.
belong
It's
to you.
my nephew's drone.
Is this the same drone that does manual mode?
It is the same drone that does
Oh
manual
my
mode. Yep.
goodness, that poor kid has no idea what he does when he loans
He
it to you.
has no idea. Yeah. So, well, we left the comments just confirmed it. Ben jumped the light, automatic disqualification.
That's
Oh.
it. It's over now.
I didn't win, but I did
That's
win.
We're gonna have to.
I
We'll
won-
bring the
I
cup
won
to
by
Lincoln
default.
later.
Yeah.
Here's your cup.
we left the playa, drove back down towards field, and cut up to the Steens Mountain. There's a it's called the Steens Mountain Loop. There's like 5 or 6 campgrounds on this loop, and it's the highest road in Oregon. And it's only open like 2 months out of the year because of heavy snowfall. It only opened like a month ago, and it's going to close here pretty quick. It was amazing up there. It was really neat. Oh, I forgot to mention this. When we were in Fields, we had just pulled into Fields. Some rando walked up to. I'm not sure who he walked up to, but just
Some
started
guy.
talking to us, talking to our group of people. He's like, "Hey, are you guys with that other group?" And we're like, nope,
What
just
other
us
group?
5. Oh yeah, well, some other group with trucks that were decked out like your guys' trucks just rolled through here. I was like, oh yeah, what were they driving? And so he started listing off the rigs, and he's like, well, I think a Jeep and a Toyota thing,
A
and then he's
Tacoma.
like, and a 4Runner. I was like, oh, a 4Runner. What color was a 4Runner? He's like, brown. And I said, oh no, he said khaki. He's a khaki color. I said, oh,
Khaki.
was he pulling a trailer? And he's like, yeah, he was actually. I was like, oh, that was Nathan. So our buddy Nathan and some friends from Northwest Overland Forum actually were doing a trip. They were doing a
14
9-day trip.
Nine-
I think
nine-
it's 9 days.
No,
Yeah,
it was
9
longer
days.
than 9 days because they had 9
No.
rigs.
No, they left the previous Friday and
Okay.
they all went home on Sunday. So that's 9 days if I can count.
I can't.
So we I jumped on Facebook, pulled up, and so we kind of knew that they were going to be in the area, but we didn't know if we'd ever cross paths with them.
Yeah,
honestly.
I talked to Nathan 2 weeks ago and was like, "Hey, look what I'm getting ready to do." I was very excited for this trip, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in the Alvord at this time too." I was like, "Oh, well, maybe we'll run across maybe we'll see each other." And that was I didn't think of grabbing like he's got InReach. I could have grabbed his InReach information or anything, literally anything. I was like, okay,
Worked
maybe
out,
we'll
though.
see each other. It'd be awesome.
It worked out.
And by
Yeah.
fate,
So the first thing I did was I tried calling him on ham, and because the guy said, they left here not too long ago. So I thought, well, maybe I can reach him on ham. Couldn't. So I jumped on Facebook and I messaged him on Facebook, and it was like 2 minutes tops, and he's back on Facebook messaging me back. And I'm like, dude, call me. Let's talk. Where you at? And he's like, we're in French Glen. And I said, where are you camping tonight? And they're up in the Steens. I was like, we're going up in the Steens. Call me. So we called and we hooked up. We we ended up finding a campsite, and then their crew joined us. They started with 9 rigs. They worked their way down to 3 that ended up camping with us. They
Actually,
kept
we
losing
should,
people.
we should recognize the women in this because the women found the campsite.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
true. So I had picked out all the campsites
Campground.
for this trip. Yep. And I tried to have every other night be a place that had a vault toilet or something so they wouldn't have to squat on a bucket, right? I'm trying to think of the ladies. Turns out they didn't care about squatting on a bucket. They just wanted a place to squat, period. And so we get to this campground in the Steens Mountains, and they're like, this is dumb. This is boring. There's nothing to do here. It's dumb. Let's not camp here.
When they blamed us
Like-
for the restrooms. You're the ones that want the bathrooms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was hilarious. Actually, in
Yeah.
reality, it was my wife that wanted the bathroom.
My wife did too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Just sit-
Most wives would prefer to sit on a toilet rather than like lean up against a stump or something.
Some wives
And I
just
get it. Yep. So that's why I had picked that place out. And then I was like, no, I picked this place for you guys. And I'm like, no, and they're like, well, so my wife was in with Coy's wife. So Ruth and Carrie, they took off and they're like, we're going to just go find a place. We saw a road. We're going to just go find
Stay
a place.
here.
And they went down.
We're gonna find a spot.
Yep. Yeah. They told us to stay. Like, okay,
You stay here and find a spot if this one doesn't work
Yeah.
out.
So they took off and they're calling on the radio, hey, we found a spot. And like, and then they said, Aaron, why don't you come check it out? So I left where I was and drove up there, and I threw Coy in with me, I think. No, I didn't have Coy. Coy jumped in with you. Coy jumped
that's
with
right.
you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so I went to check out this place, and it was literally a dust circle off the side of a trail with one tree next to it. I'm like,
Which it would have worked. It would have
it would
worked.
have worked. It was barely big enough, but we were also adding 3 more people. 2 of them had trailers. One of them had a rooftop tent. I'm like, yeah, I don't.
And
think
we're
this is a
sitting
good
there,
one.
and Nathan rolls up.
Well, no, that's not how that
Yeah,
worked
he-
yet. No, Nathan didn't roll up till later. So
No, he rolled up while we were at the dust spot when I got there.
oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I left the dust spot because they're like, well, we found another spot down lower, but
and
might
that's
have to pull
we
a
hopped in with
ditch.
you, and I thought he disappeared.
Yeah. So we went down to this other spot, and it was pretty sweet. It was going to be tight getting all the rigs in, but it was a grassy area. There was a creek. There was trees.
Best camping.
There was a fire pit.
Fire ring.
It was it was a nice place. So we camped there that night. Half the crew played in the water because it was nice, trickling little stream.
One of the crew cooked some hot dogs on a scuttle.
Yep. Ben got his chef hat on and rolled hot dogs around on the scuttle. That was another good night. I mean, we stayed up late again. We stayed up late every night, but it was just such good camaraderie with everybody. Everybody got along so well.
It was. I've got to say, this is probably one of my favorite trips that I've been on in the last 10 years, at least.
Yeah.
And as a new guy, speaking of the camaraderie, hanging out, it was like we've been friends forever. So it was cool to.
It's like you were almost family with some of us.
That was a special night of camp also because we had homemade ice cream.
Yeah, that
was
ice cream was really good. And
With
then
blackberries.
with blackberries in it. That wasn't
Mhm.
planned. But they went in and they were awesome.
Yeah.
It was bomb. And it was not Cool Whip. It was legit ice cream.
It was legit
Coy-
ice cream.
Coy brought an
And,
ice cream maker.
Take that, all you overlanders out there. Who else has had ice cream on their overland trip that they made while they're on camp? Day 4 of camp, ice cream.
Yeah.
And not only that, I think every single night the Magic Bullet came out and mixed drinks were made with the ice as well.
Yeah, Aaron was having pina coladas, virgin pina coladas.
Yeah, I just wish I had a little umbrella go in it.
The Overlanders would have had umbrella.
Yeah. So that was another great night. We got up about the same time the next morning. We knew everyone was headed home that time. We were going to split up. Some of us were needing to head home. Some of us wanted to finish the loop because highest road in
Some of us
Oregon.
had
Let's
10
finish
plus
this
hour
loop.
drive home.
Yep. So 2 of us finished the loop, and 2 of them went home. And Rick, apparently being retired, you get to stay out there longer. So Rick stayed. He didn't camp there that night. He camped somewhere else. He's still camping as we're recording this.
Yeah. He was they stayed at that spot for a little bit while longer, and he's like, "Yep, we're going swimming after you guys leave." I can't imagine there were swimsuits involved.
Probably not.
But hey, you're out in the woods, you're having fun. I don't care. You do you, boo boo.
You do you, yeah. So yep. Coy actually rode with me from when we left camp all the way till the exit of his house off the highway, and I pulled off, his wife pulled off, and we traded spouses, and my wife jumped in and he jumped in with his wife. And so I imagine Coy got home at 6 o'clock, because he said he only left 2 minutes off the highway. I got home at like 7 o'clock.
So you want to hit him as much as I do, right?
Yes.
I go home at 7 o'clock. The 2 guys who didn't go on the loop are on this recording with me, Ben and Eric. They left. They avoided that because they had a longer drive. They definitely wanted to get home at a decent time. They didn't want to lollygag up in the hills like we did and stuff like that. So
we did.
Anyway.
We actually did want to lollygag, but we did also want to get home in a decent time because one of us had work in the morning.
And one of us took
so
the
did
day
I.
off.
Yeah. So, but you got home at what time? 7?
7 o'clock.
7.
Yeah. Screw you. And so had traffic been clear, I would have gotten home at like 8.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think that you would have got home at 8.
So we stopped in Burns, and we stopped at this restaurant called
Boomer's Place,
which was really funny to me thinking about it. Like, okay, Boomer.
You should have had a Rick with you.
So we stopped at Boomer's Place, and
it's a church.
It's an old church
with a crooked cross.
Turned into a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
into a restaurant?
No, the church was kind of
dilapidated, and the cross is. I don't know if they did it on purpose or if it's falling or what.
I think the building just kind of looked old to begin with, and so it's been turned into a restaurant. And your wife said it was the best burger she's ever had.
Yeah,
but to the restaurant owner, it was the second best burger that she's ever had. But whatever, still damn good food.
Yeah.
And I loved his personality because your wife's like, I want water, and he's like, okay, that'll be $6.50.
And she was like, okay, whatever.
Okay, whatever.
and then when we ordered our food, first of all, she said, can we order our food? And he goes, no, I'm only interested in what you want to drink. And so we did that.
I think you were the wrong person.
Okay, Boomer.
Wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd be like 1 star.
Yeah. No, he's screwing around. It's obvious.
He's enjoying
and
it.
then when we were ordering food, I wanted a blue cheeseburger and Piv wanted to share. So I was like, hey, can I have the blue cheese on the side so she doesn't get any of it? And he goes, well, how about she just order her own food? And she just kind of like, okay. I'll get a plain burger.
It was great.
Boomer's good dude.
Yeah. Good food.
Good food.
Yeah. And then we continued on our way home, and we took what is the fastest way, which is going over Hood.
Yeah.
And there was some police activity at the bottom of the hill. There was a crisis unit there. We don't know exactly what was going on. And I was driving at speeds that would keep close to the old man here. So I wasn't speeding too much.
Some hipster from Portland was probably having a crisis on the side of the road.
Who knows? I mean, there was like 20 cop cars there.
Yeah.
And so it added like an hour delay, half-hour delay.
And then we had more delay.
No, hold on. We got
JBLM.
So we finally get through that. And before that, Eric had said, hey, just go ahead, and I know you've got to get home, full speed ahead. And I took that as full speed ahead, and I went full speed until I hit that block. Yeah. And as I'm getting to the bottom of it, Eric calls me and he says, hey, did you hit this crazy traffic jam? I'm like, I'm almost through it. I had like my Google said I had like 3 minutes left in it. and then I get through that, and it was full send all the way home. I stopped off in Portland and saw a friend real quick, and then which was like a 10-minute stop. It was like, hey, how you doing? Here's a hug, goodbye. And I got up to JBLM, which is the military base, formerly Fort Lewis, and well, I guess it's still Fort Lewis, but whatever. And traffic's just moving slow, wicked slow. It took me what should have been a 45-minute drive home from there.
Too long.
2 hours.
Yeah. Basically, if we had taken the loop, we would have been home by like midnight.
Yeah.
So it was a good decision. We missed
Maybe
out.
not.
Get it? We missed out.
No,
Maybe if you
so
taken the loop, you
that-
would have
that traffic-
Google would have redirected you and not sent you over Mount Hood. You'd been
No,
like,
it would
"Ah,
have
there's a
thrown me into a mud road.
yeah, so yeah. So there was so I did find out about the I-5, why it was slow. There was a fatality.
Oh,
So that is what just slowed down. Yeah, so that's what slowed down traffic, and why it stayed slowed down, because it
Oh.
shut down part of the freeway,
that's too bad.
yeah."
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I mean, someone lost their life, and I lost
Okay.
time.
Yeah, I'll
it
go to bed
was-
at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got home at like 9:30.
That's not too bad. It's a
Yeah.
long
When I
drive. You
should have been
drove.
home at
Essentially,
7.
you're driving for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He sucked.
Well, to wrap it up, when I got home, I checked my odometer because I started my odometer when I left the house 5 days prior, and it was 1,110 miles from my house the whole trip and back. And I'm pretty confident that just over 200 of those miles, actually, that doesn't include the Steens Loop, which is 50 miles. So about 250 of my miles were all off pavement,
Nice.
which is fun. So that's almost a quarter of the driving was off pavement.
That is awesome.
Actually, we should mention that earlier I was talking about fueling up because it was the last place and it was going to be a long time before we got fuel. I did all the math, and it was going to be from fuel stop to fuel stop. It was going to be at least 285 miles with no extra side trips or anything. So I made sure that everyone had fuel. And had we not all had extra fuel, 5 gallons, we wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had 8 gallons,
what
and it was a good thing because when I fueled up, they didn't fuel me all the way for some stupid reason. So
I
yeah,
think
it
it
was-
just burped the system back, and it shut it
Yeah,
off, and she
yeah.
called it good.
anyway.
Yeah, it was I my wife texted me today, and she's like, I tallied up how much you spent on gas. I spent $250 on gas for the trip, which isn't that bad considering gas there and back.
It was fun.
$250.
Maybe she put food in that. I don't know.
Seems high, but
So I'm going to guess that you guys did 1,500 miles because you guys are another 100 miles beyond me and 100. So I guess it's only 1,300 miles.
maybe.
Let's call it 1,400 miles more than I did.
Okay.
Divide
reason
that
why I
by,
said- I thought I did 11, and the reason why is I turned 160,000. I don't remember where I turned 160, so I don't know. So maybe that. And now, yeah, I'm at 161.
Coy's told us why they ran why we
yeah,
ran
the
in.
crisis on Mount Hood.
Yep, someone in a van wagon ran out of granola.
Vanagon.
Vanagon.
So if you spent $250 for fuel, that's 17.8 cents per mile.
Totally
I don't
worth
really
it.
know what that
Yep.
translates.
I don't care. I had fun.
Yep,
One of the best trips
exactly.
I've been on. And I want to go back. Actually, though, I think I want to go back in like winter or spring or fall. I don't know. Fall would be really cool.
Or some.
So like,
Summer.
no, that way, like, so some of those really hot springs would be really nice to be in. Though
Well,
that
we can
would be-
plan a route that hits some regular hot springs also.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all fun. There was a hot spring that Rick went to afterwards. They sent us a picture to, and it looked really nice.
So I'm
Well,
curious.
Once again, though, he goes in cold springs and hot springs. You just don't know what the temperature actually is.
I don't know what the temperature is, but it looked really nice and well kept.
What did the wife say? That's my question. My wife said that she enjoyed the trip and she really enjoyed the company.
Oh, she liked us?
Most of us.
I wonder who she didn't
I got the same feeling from my wife, and then when she got in my rig after riding with Ruth for all that time, they were trying to figure out how to plan the next camping trip. So
Wow.
my one thing my wife did not like is that we did not camp in the same place every night and had to pack up camp every morning and unpack camp every night. And I get that.
Yeah.
But for this type of adventure, it would not have been possible. There was no central area that you could have camped at and gone out and back and hit all the places we hit.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll throw this out here. I talked to Koya a little bit about it, and Eric I'm thinking of doing a Bethel Ridge run. Like there's a couple spots up there that are really nice, have big camping spots. Might be worth doing, and bringing the kids.
Yeah.
Because I know Ruth had talked about it'd be cool to do a trip with kids because we all have kids that are about the same age, except for
me.
except for Eric.
Yeah, except for Eric.
He's got a teenager that can watch them all.
That's right.
There we go. Perfect.
Well, yeah, it was a good show. It would be curious. I don't know if it would be possible, but see if we can get, I don't know if Piv would be able to come on, but we get Piv and Ruth and Carrie and Karen, the four ladies of the trip, to come on and do a podcast.
The
and
wives.
we could just ask a few questions and they could talk their way through how they thought the trip went. So maybe if any of our listeners think that would be a good episode, if it would be worthwhile to hear an alternate perspective on a trip, we can
The real housewives of Alfred podcast.
Yeah. Look, wives, these people are interested in hearing from you, not just your husbands wanting to know what you say. So yeah, if we can get some of that, maybe we can talk the ladies into joining us.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'll like me.
Yeah.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club.
Oh, sorry. I jumped the gun on that one. My apologies.
Oh, no, that was it. I was just going to say, well, I think that about wraps it up.
Well, that does wrap it up. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Maybe.
Yes, sir.
Visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening